Here's what bodybuilders get right and what us over 40 kettlebell user types can learn from them. Hey, what's going on? It's Jeff Newport from ChasingStrength.com. And if you're like most guys watching this channel, and certainly if you're like me, your introduction to the weight pile was probably vis-a-vis bodybuilding or some form of bodybuilding, muscle and fitness or Arnold, get to the choppa, Schwarzenegger. Which, of course, is why many, if not most guys over 40 think that the epitome of getting in shape, right, to use the air quotes as we like to do here on this channel every so often, or being in shape is to look like a bodybuilder, right, to use even more air quotes. And that, of course, means training in the following way, right? Body part splits. So, chest and tries on Monday, back and buys on Wednesday, shoulders and legs on Friday, that sort of thing. It also means that you might feel you need to work out 5 or 6 days a week, like Arnold prescribed in Education of the Bodybuilder, right? Which is great for a 17, 18, 19-year-old guy, but not so great for a 40-plus-year-old guy with a family. Or maybe you were taught that you need to do 2, 3, or even 4 exercises per body part in order to hit the muscle, blast that muscle from all angles and positions. Or maybe you think you need to do hours of long, slow cardio in order to cut, right? Or perhaps you've heard this one, and maybe you've even partaken like I have of this in the past, chicken and broccoli and rice packed in a Tupperware and carried around in a cooler, right? Or everybody's favorite being so sore you can't comb your hair if you've still got any when you're over 40, or you can't get out of your chair at work without using the armrest, right? These are just a few things that we associate or are associated with bodybuilding. And look, I get it. Who does not want to be lean, muscular, and jacked looking? I mean, look, I never once had a guy come up to me and say, boy, you know what would be awesome? I would love to look like Santa Claus, or better yet, can you help me look like the Michelin Man? Nobody has ever said that to me, ever, in my entire career spanning over 30 years in this industry, okay? So to make a point, I want to tell you about a friend of mine. He's an acquaintance now, right? But back in the day, you know what back in the day is. Back in the day when you used to could. Well, back in the day, my buddy Larry Waters was a competitive bodybuilder, and I trained him from 2001, 2002, roughly, about a year or so until he moved away. Let me tell you something. Larry was the definition of super disciplined, and at 6'4" roughly, he carried around a solid 240 pounds. Well, we lost track of each other, and fast forward to last year, I caught back up with Larry, who's, believe it or not, still competing in bodybuilding in his late 40s. In fact, earlier this year, a couple months ago, he competed in the IFBB Masters Championship, weighing in at a peeled or jacked, whatever you want to call it, man, 220, 225 pounds. Now, you might be wondering, what does Larry and bodybuilding for 20 plus years have to do with you? Well, it's simple. One page we can all take out of Larry's book, and every successful competitive bodybuilder's book is this: self-discipline. Okay, here's what that looks like. Number one, you pre-plan your workouts. This is both on a weekly schedule and on a daily schedule. You need to know the following things: your warm-up time, the duration of your warm-up, your training duration, how long a workout is going to take you, your cool down time, right? How long your cool down is, and your travel time, if you have travel time to a gym, right? Or maybe it's just from your home office in the basement up to your garage and back, okay? Number two, you need to pre-plan your fuel. That's your meals, right? Successful bodybuilders know what to eat, how much to eat, and when to eat it, okay? They don't guess. They don't eat what they feel like, okay? Unless they're coming off a particularly hard competition cycle and taking some downtime. Point number 3 here is recovery. Now, the reason bodybuilders use the training splits they do is because that's what they believe works best for them to A, stimulate growth, and B, see the adaptation from that stimulation, or as we call those things around here, dem gains, bruh. So they're pretty meticulous about getting their rest, okay? Most guys who work out hard and don't see the results they're looking for just don't understand this concept. Like one of the dads I was talking to recently at a camp out with our sons, right? He could not seem to get rid of his beer belly, right? And even though he said he worked out 6 days a week and stopped drinking so much beer, in fact, I think he said he stopped drinking beer altogether. And the reality was, I told him it was these 3 self-disciplines: consistent, planned training, consistent, planned fueling, consistent, planned recovery. And look, even with the steroids, which I'm pretty sure my buddy Larry hasn't touched, this is why these guys are so lean and muscular. Here's a little side note. One of my friends, Josh, recently took about 8 months, dropped 65 pounds, and dieted hardcore for a bodybuilding show, which he won at over 50. Okay, but the point is he practiced those 3 things: right? Consistent planned training, consistent planned fueling, and consistent planned recovery. Now, here's what I am not saying. So this is where you need to pay attention if you're using kettlebells and you aren't using bodybuilding methods. I'm not saying you suddenly need to switch from kettlebell training to bodybuilding training, or that bodybuilding training is superior to other forms of training. I'm here to tell you that it's not, especially for guys our age, especially if you don't have those things dialed in. Number two, I'm not saying that you should eat 6 to 8 meals a day out of a Tupperware container, right? And amble around with a bloated stomach dropping protein farts at the water cooler, okay? And number three, I am not saying that you should refrain from family activities because they would steal your gains, okay? So please don't read anything or hear anything in what I just told you that wasn't there, okay? What I am saying is this, and let me make this crystal clear so we're all on the same page and we all understand what I'm about to say. If you are not making the gains, right? G-A-I-N-Z, that's what we call the gains around here on this channel, you want or expect, then you need to reevaluate your own self-discipline and look at those 3 areas of self-discipline and then honestly assess yourself, okay? Then, once you find out where you've fallen down on the job, make the necessary changes if you still have the same goals, okay? Now, if you're a relatively experienced kettlebell trainee, in other words, you're comfortable with basic doubles exercises, and you need a program that has all 3 of these self-disciplines baked in for you, well, then I'll leave a link to that program in the video description below. And if you're not, well, it's not a too bad for you situation, right? It's not, you're out of luck, Jack. I'll recommend a single kettlebell training program that has all 3 of those self-disciplines baked into it as well, and I'll leave that link in the video's description section below. All right, so hopefully you found this video helpful. Hopefully you'll take something away from this and you'll be able to evaluate your own training plans. And if you need some help, then check out those links. So if you found this video helpful, click the like button, smash the subscribe button, share it with a friend you know who needs to see some gains or start seeing some gains again, and leave me a clean comment in the comment section below, all right? Have you evaluated your own training, right? And what kind of gains have you been seeing? Are you following these 3 self-disciplines? Okay, until next time, my friend, stay strong.